Hello and welcome to Mtoto News Insights with me, Omar Ahmed. Before we start, let's first of all have a look at the headlines today.
So the Teens Innovation Week in my mind sounded so baffling because we are going to meet so many other people who are so talented in different ways. But when I came here...
STEAM Labs holds a one-week Teens Innovation Week.
Say when you see a child who is in need of care and protection because they are in contact.
Children interact with the second annual Child Justice Summit. Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome. From the 5th of December 2022, STEAM Labs Africa, in partnership with other organizations including Mtoto News, hosted the first ever Teens Innovation Week in Michael Joseph Center Safaricom House. The event, which is aimed at teaching the children more on coding, took place for 4 days up to the 9th of December 2022. Take a look. From the 5th of December 2022 at the Michael Joseph Center, different children from different organizations and schools met to grace the first ever Teens Innovation Week, which was held here at the Safaricom House. The event is meant to educate these children more on coding and more on programming. The children have been taught a lot for the past 4 days, and this is what they had to say.
So the Teens Innovation Week in my mind sounded so baffling because we are going to meet so many other people who are so talented in different ways. But when I came here, I realized that even I have potential in different spaces. So it's very innovative, as the whole title suggests, and it's just a lovely place to be.
Okay, on a personal level, I've learned that tech, as one of the world's upcoming thing, must be like part of me, and I must move with it and see how it will help me, so that, because no matter how I try, eventually I'll just be connected with the tech system. Yes.
During the first day, the children are oriented on what they're going to be doing for the next 4 days by different organization heads. They were also led a good panel discussion by Felix, who introduced the different organization heads and the challenges they cope while in the tech industry. They also got to explain how they link their organizations to technology, whereby Miss Jennifer Kaberi explained how she links child protection and using technology to make the children visible.
The Tech Innovation Week, it's an event whereby it's bringing young people together, young people from the age of 13 years old to 18. Those are basically teenagers. So what you're looking to achieve is that to be able to bring young people together, to be able to so that they can be able to be innovative in a space. So the Teens Innovation Week, it's all about young people coming together for the purpose of innovation, for the purpose of sharing their ideas, and for the purpose of even coming up with solutions to the problems that we are facing, even as a country, problems that we are facing, even individually from where we come from. So that's all about the Teens Innovation Week.
Different students from different schools and organizations were grouped together to be able to come up with a project that can at least try and solve one of the SDGs that we have from the United Nations. The children got to present their projects in front of the crowd and the judges so that they can be able to be judged and given their marks accordingly. The first runners-up was successfully taken by Skyline with their project of using the microbit and the makey to be able to sense floods at a place before it executes or harms anyone. The project was successfully loved by the audience and the judges, and they got the first runners-up. The number 1 overall was taken by Jaguar with an amazing project, which was a game actually to be able to solve one of the SDGs.
The Teens Innovation Week has really been an eye-opener to me, showing me that I have interests in areas whereby SDGs are related, and the fact that technology is just so much bigger than just looking at a computer, being able to search things. It's so much more than that. And it's also been able to show me that there are people with so much unsung talent in so many different spaces.
Go for it. You can make it, you know. And it's like feeding a baby. When a baby is born, you give the baby breast milk, then you introduce the baby to the normal food, then after that gets used to the other foods. So it's the same way with you at home. If you want to get in the tech world, just go for it, start step by step. No one is born knowing everything, you know. You have to learn from people who have the experience about it and be ready to learn. Yeah.
I think the first thing we are looking to achieve, me as an educator, is to spark creativity. You know, creativity has to be within a context, and sometimes it takes context like this that we are having, like the Teens Innovation Week, to be able to spark creativity among our students. So when they come here, when they are able to interact with different devices that they've never interacted before, different technologies, when they come here, they interact with microbeat, makey. It kind of helps them to, it stretches their creativity, it stretches what they can be able to do and what they can achieve. Secondly, it's also about passion. A lot of students, some of them who come from underprivileged backgrounds, they might have an interest in ICT, they might have an interest in technology, but they have no access to gadgets, they have no access to computers, even at schools. So this kind of context, it basically reignites the passion in them, because they are able now to come here, there are, you know, certain devices are provided, and now they are able to be able to do what they are not able to do when they are away. So it's basically be able to, you know, be able to harness that creativity and passion within them.
Reporting from Mtoto News, my name is Omar Hamed. Congratulations to the winner who won the hackathon. On the 28th of November 2022, the Chief Justice officially launched the second annual Child Justice Summit with the theme, A New Dawn for the Child in Kenya. Our journalist Brian King has the story. Take a look.
On the 28th of November 2022, at the Safari Park Hotel, esteemed members of the judiciary joined by legislatures and children of Kenya joined together in the momentous second annual Child Justice System with the theme, A New Dawn for the Child of Kenya. True to the theme, the event was led by children who emceed the event, took part in the presentations, and even got included in the panel discussions. The event was graced by the President of the Judiciary and Chairperson of the National Council on the Administration of Justice, the Chief Justice Martha Koome. In her opening speech, the Chief Justice acknowledged the importance of making the judiciary child-friendly as well as more inclusive towards the Kenyan child.
This year's summit comes at an exciting moment for the child justice movement in this country and indeed in the region, because the region is looking at Kenya for setting up the standards for the child protection through the enactment of the Children Act 2022. Dear distinguished children, I want to remind you that this is your law. Regardless of your status, ethnicity, race, your ability or disability, your gender or social status, this law spells out your rights. You are all equal before the law, including your right to life, survival, and development, your right to a name and identity, the right to participate on matters that affect you and be heard, your right to health, education, and your right to play. Your right to be protected from all forms of violence, especially harmful cultural practices and online sexual abuse. It has also come to our attention during institutional visits that occasionally children are held in police stations, cells for longer than 3 months while their cases are on trial. And this I am speaking to the other agencies, especially the police service, and say that a child who is typically around the age of 16 years finds that the police cell, becomes their home. And this cell does not have access to education. It has no access to health. They also sleep on the cold hard floor of the police cell. And indeed, they risk being held together with adults and their matters not being prioritized. This is why we come together to say when you see a child who is in need of care and protection because they are in contact or in conflict with the law, bring it to the attention of the magistrate at the earliest opportunity so that solutions can be found, working together with the Department of Children's Services and others on how we can protect the child and not keep them in the police station.
Among the guests and panelists was the Director of the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, Mr. Mohammed Amin, who acknowledged the grievances toward children inflicted by the police and apologized, citing that the aim of police officers is not to imprison children, but rather to take care of them. He also made a promise to reinstate the Child Protection Unit's CPUs to make sure that children are better taken care of when in contact with the law.
In the event of a physical threat to our children, whether in our homes, neighborhoods, or places of work, and where there may be fear of reprisal, I urge you all to use our Fichua kwa DCI hotline number 0800-722-203, and you have the option to report anonymously. Otherwise, you could as well use the police hotline numbers, including the traditional 999, the 112, or the 911.
Reporting from Mtoto News Insights, I am Brian King.
And Brian King's story takes us to our first break here at Mtoto News Insights. But don't go too far, we are coming back with the discussion. Do children know about the child justice system, and is it effective in their working? Stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, I had highlighted on the topic, and that story on the National Council on the Administration of Justice brings us to our discussion today. Do the children know about the justice system, and is it accessible to them? Are they able to contemplate it with their day-to-day lives? And today I have my panel of discussion, our child rights advocates. I'm going to let them to introduce themselves, and then we can continue with the discussion. Let me start with you.
My name is Eric. As Omar said, I'm a child's rights advocate, and I'm also a trained journalist here in Mtoto News.
Thank you so much, Eric. Let's move on. Yes.
Hi everyone, my name is Sheila Luangu. I'm a child rights advocate and a trained journalist at Mtoto News.
Welcome back, Sheila. Welcome back. Let's go to Mwangi.
Hi, how are you? My name is Mwangi. I'm a child rights activist and also a child's advocate.
Thank you so much, Mwangi. I know we have been taking a short break here at Mtoto News Insights, but we are back with a lot and better content. So let me start with you, Mwangi. Do you know about the child justice system, or have you ever interacted with the child justice system?
No, I've never interacted with the child justice system, but I was enabled and I was privileged to attend the summit, and in the summit we discussed various issues, and we were honored by the Chief Justice and also the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, and she really assured us that they will take it into place and really just ensure that the child justice system is actually there, and not just there in the Constitution, but also is there in the implementation, and it actually goes to action and people actually respect the child justice system.
Well,
yeah.
Thank you so much, Mwangi. Asante sana. Let's come to Sheila. Sheila,
Yes.
Have you ever heard that there's the children have a section in the justice system? It's called the child justice system. And concerning the event that we were in, it was the second annual child justice system. The other one happened in 2021. So did you know that there was, the child justice system was there, and it is there to protect and conserve the rights of the children?
Omar, it's so unfortunate. I came to know about it on the second annual meeting that was held at that summit, the way Mwangi said it, because I think if I knew it using the second summit, what about those who did not attend the summit? So meaning it's not quite aware, like most children do not quite know that the child justice system exists and it is there to protect their right. And also I feel like they've failed to uphold the rights, the basic rights of children, because the way they handle children, it's so hard and it's so difficult for them. So like it's kind of it's not like a child justice system. I'll say it's like it's dealing with criminals, real criminals, but not children.
Okay, we are coming to those what they do actually, and getting to see if it actually does work. Thank you so much, Sheila. Let's come to Eric. Eric, before the second annual child justice system, did you know about the child justice system, and have you maybe interacted with the child justice system?
Actually, Omar, this is the first, okay, I know it's the second annual child justice system, but actually, I didn't even know it existed.
It's your first?
It's the first one. I believe it was on 29th, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's the first I've ever attended, which was graced by the Chief Justice, Honorable Martha Koome, right? Yeah, I've never heard of it. And I'm so glad about the things that were discussed there. I believe they talked about the new Children's Act, right? Basically, it was themed a new dawn for the child in Kenya, right?
Yes.
So the new act was implemented by the former president, Uhuru Kenyatta, right? And I'm glad actually about the new Child's Act that they were able to include the part of the transgenders, right? Yes, and they were also emphasizing on mental health. I'm a huge mental health activist, and that made me happy.
We are coming to that. We are coming to what's actually in the in the Children's Act 2022. But let me come to Sheila. Sheila,
yes.
You've mentioned something that's quite interesting, and we have seen about you all went to the event of the second annual Child Justice Summit, and you heard what they said, that the children are supposed to be treated well when they are being handled. The children who are in conflict with the law, because we don't say that the children are criminals. We say children who are in conflict with the law. They say that they're supposed to be handled with care, they're supposed to be taken out with dignity and all that. But you as a child, maybe you've seen some of these children who have been caught, and some of these children who have been taken by the criminal justice system, this system. Do you think that they are handled with care the way they say, or do you think they are taken with that dignity that they actually deserve? Have you ever encountered any of this?
Thank you so much, Omar. I'm very privileged once again, I'll say this, to be talking about this, because actually I like the topic when it comes to justice to do with children. I think children will come into contact with the law when maybe they've committed a crime, they've been alleged to a crime, or maybe they're witness to a crime. Now, the personnel are not trained on how to handle. The prosecutors, the police, the judges, and the officials are not trained on how to handle these children who come in contact with the law. Now that is a very important key when it comes to justice to do with children. They're not treated very well. At times, you might find that maybe that child and maybe the crime, or maybe the offense that maybe this child is alleged or a witness to, it's linked to an adult being behind it. You find that maybe they are behind bars, or maybe they're detained in adults' prison for after trial. You see, now they have to suffer the consequences of the crime they did not commit. Now they are included as criminals, not as children who have come in contact with the law. So I feel like the officials are not trained on how to handle handle the children when it comes to contact with the law.
Yeah, I guess it is important for them to be trained and getting to see that. But let us come to Mwangi. Thank you so much, Sheila, for those beautiful insights. Let us come to Mwangi. Mwangi, we know we went there, me and our very own journalist Brian King, when we got to talk to these children under institutions, basically children who are under rehabilitation centers, to see their insights, how they go through. And some of them said that they stayed in jail for around 1 year. Some of them said that they slept on the floor for 1 year. Some of them are not even getting education currently, and they've been maybe in the institutions for even 2 to 3 years. No, 2 going to 3 years. So what do you take on this as a child rights advocate?
Yeah, thank you, Mar. For me, you know, as enshrined in the new act, I mean, it's actually calls this a rehabilitation center, just like the way you would have a rehabilitation for drunkards and all that.
Yeah.
So it shouldn't be a place that actually you're treated with bad, but they should actually even try to investigate, have counselors who talk to them, because remember, these are children, and as you say, they're not treated as criminals, but people who went into conflict with the law. And as I interacted with them last week, actually most of them, yes, sometimes, you know, criminals wouldn't, or let's say the people who go into conflict would not want to admit that they're the ones who are in the conflict with the law, but really it's more of, they don't wanna, they were also in a bad, they were just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. So for me, I hope actually this new act is actually taken viable and really is actually implemented. So I hope actually this stuff, because you know we interacted with them, as you see, some of they are tested to being mistreated in those prison cells. They actually have no space to even go talk to their parents, and some of them are mistreated. People, the ladies, the young girls in that rehabilitation center are really being, they're just, people don't like them, and actually even most families have disowned them. So I hope actually we even have people who, as my friend Eric here said, he's a mental activist, people who actually stand with them even mentally, because most of them we find in our age, we have people committing suicide. Yeah. And so, I mean, we would also take more action in the part of psychological needs. So I hope as a country, and as promised by our CJ, this law will actually be implemented and they treat them more with care than actually treating them like criminals. Yeah, thank you very much.
Asante sana Mwangi. Let's come to our very own Namai before we take a short break here at Mtoto News Insights. Eric, there's, you know, Namai has mentioned something about having counselors, but we talk to those children, and they do get counselors in the rehabilitation centers, but the problem is that the counselors, they get to give them false hope. They tell them, you know what they wanted, like what they were telling us what they want, those children. They said that the only thing they want is just to go home. To just go home and see their home, and even though they go there for a day and then come back. These counselors, they tell them that, you know, we will talk to your officers, we will talk to the system, we will talk to them and get to see if you guys can be able to go home. But then they're giving them false hope, they don't even do anything. What can you take on that, you know, as a person who is, you know, very major in things like mental health and mental illness?
Personally, I don't think that's good, first of all, because when you get someone's hopes up, you get them expecting something that it's not going to happen, right? So basically, before all that, we all know that in the cells, like Mwangi said, is it Mwangi or you, that they've spent more than a year without sleeping on bed, like sleeping on the floor, without education, without good food, without even clothes. These are the simple needs that a human needs to survive, let alone a child, right? And if you don't give that to them, basically you're showing them that the world is cruel. So when they come out of that place, I think that it wouldn't help them. It's correctional center, right? They're supposed to be corrected, right? But it's not gonna help them because, well, you treat them badly. You're not even correcting them. You said children that are not criminals, they're in conflict with the law, right? Yeah. That means when they get out there, the teachings they got from the prisons will be, I don't think will be enough. I don't even think they'll be corrected. For me, I think that they'll be worse than they were when they entered, because this is a child who's growing, the mind is developing, and it's adapting to whatever it's been fed into. So if you feed violence into the child, if you feed false hope, if you feed neglect, if you feed things like you mentioned, I don't think that's correcting them. And personally,
but don't you think like maybe they after all, this is actually, I'm just asking you a question before we take a short break. There are children that are in conflict with the law. So do you think that feeding them this false hope is part of their punishment, or what do you think?
I think it's punishing them because, first of all, you're not even regarding them as children. You are taking them as criminals, because you don't treat a child like that, even if they're in conflict with the law. No matter how bad a child is, there's still hope in changing them. But it's like you've lost your hope. It's like you don't have hope in the child. No matter what he does, he tries to show you that I can be better, but you're not even teaching him anything. So that's punishment, by the way, but it's not good.
No, thank you so much, Eric. We are taking a short break here at Mtoto News Insights, but we are coming back with more, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Mtoto News Insights. Before we took a break, we were continuing with the discussion on the child justice system following the 29th and 30th second annual child justice system that was held at Safaricom Hotel, graced by the amazing CJ, Chief Justice Honorable Martha Koome. And we are continuing with the discussion today. So Eric, we've talked about you being a really huge supporter of the mental health section, which is in the 2022 Children's Act. But maybe you can tell us a little bit about the best interest of the child part of the 2022 Children's Act and how it's relating to the child justice system.
Okay, I'll try as best. I'll try my best. Okay, so best interest of a child and how it's related to the child justice system. I'd say the best interest of a child has no, like for me, you shouldn't take it into a deeper meaning. It's literally in the words best interest of the child. What will benefit the child most, and what's suitable for the child, what's safe for the child, something like that, right? So the annual child justice system, it was themed a new dawn for the child in Kenya because it was an inclusion of the child's rights from the Constitution into the okay, I forgot the word. Child justice system. In regards to their justice, right? Like to make sure that the justice system makes sure that the child is included first, and what literally is the child's best interest, right? So I think it's really good. The best interest of the child, for me, the way it was included in the child's rights in Children's Act 2022, it was really good because, first of all, they're considering the child. You see, for the first time, they're considering the child instead of. The way you mentioned, it's not a crime. He's not a criminal. She's not a criminal. She's just in conflict with the law.
Conflict with the law.
And when you take it at this perspective, you won't see the child as a bad person, basically someone who was just raised and got bad influence, and you can be able to correct them, right? So the child justice system has done a really great job in regards to the best interest of the child. I'd give an example. I don't know if it's in Kenya yet. I don't know if it's in Kenya, but there's this when children are having cases in courts, right? Let's say the child was abused by the parent or by an adult, right? And they're taken to court and they have to face the person who abused them, right? So most of the time, this child is intimidated in not saying that, like, this is the person who abused me, maybe physically, right? Because he's right there. Maybe he's my father. They're afraid the father will get locked up. They're afraid the father might get released and then, come for the child again. So they've put like this, glass, I think. So when the child is inside the booth, they can't see outside, but everyone outside the court can see the child. So this is a simpler way to say that the child will get justice.
Wow. Thank you so much, Eric, for describing the best interest of the child in the best way possible, actually. That's the best definition. That's the best explanation for everything. And I do believe that the child justice system works. Not only in Kenya, worldwide, we have had cases of this famous musician, R. Kelly, who was recently just caught and sentenced to to a really good sentence in prison because of, defiling. How many years?
I think it's 40.
40 years for defiling and, exploiting the children, which means that the justice system does work not only in Kenya, but worldwide. Sindio, let's come to Sheila. Sheila,
yes.
Eric has described the best interest of the child in the best way possible, actually. That's the best definition I've ever gotten. And maybe you can tell us, does this best interest of the child, that phrase literally, does it apply to the justice system? Like, do they consider the best interest of the child? Because they do say that children have their own sections in the jail, not in the jail, like in the prisons, not in prisons, in the juvenile and all that. But sometimes some of the children, when we went to the institutions, we talked to them, and some of them told us that they get to be put in jails, the normal jails. They get to do the works which other adults are doing. They get to be treated like criminals, actually, and they're only in conflict with the law. This is a child who has not actually attained the age of knowing what he or she is actually doing. So do you think this best interest of the child, for the best interest of the child, is applying to the justice system?
No, as I said earlier, it's a no. Justice system has failed to provide justice altogether for children, because some of these children do not have a knowledge of their rights, basic rights, that is, and also some of these children cannot afford legal support or presentation
in court.
Legal support or legal presentation in the court to maybe to provide for them a lawyer or something. So that is just not, the court does not provide best interest of the child. So you find that many children are as you said, are detained in adults' prison for a long time. So what the justice system could do is, at least before, yes, the child might be alleged to a crime, witness to a crime, or have committed a crime, but that is a conflict with the law. That is conflict with the law.
Yes. Indeed, sometimes children may do mistakes, and then in turn they're taken as criminals, instead of people thinking that these are children who have not attained the age of 18 years, and some of them might actually not know what is actually the right thing or is the wrong thing. But anyway, continue.
Yeah, so you saying that brings me, you see, we are not supposed to say children have committed crimes. We are supposed to say children are in conflict with the law. So as much as they are in conflict with the law, as some of those who are in rehabilitation centers said to us, and you see, like, they were saying they lack basic rights. They are, like, you see, some of these officials, they promise them what they could not attend. They're not fair when it comes to fulfilling what they promise. You see, they promise things that do not, like, yes, it's a written law, but it's not enforced and it's not a working law. So the best interest of the child could be attained if these laws are enforced and implemented and they're really working. As much as there's this law. Something else, I feel like it's really not in the best interest of a child. If a child is in conflict with the law, please try to find out the reason behind it. Maybe there is an adult behind that crime or that conflict, making that child be in conflict with the law. And also, let's be fair, as Eric said earlier, you see, as much as we are detaining them, giving them false promises, this is not just the best interest of the child, because this is just mentally affecting them. If you promise them, this is just killing them inside, because as much as you detain them in adults prison, at the end of it, they'll receive the punishment, maybe the caning, sleeping on the floor. At the end of it, this child will come out feeling very low, feeling that he or she is useless, he or she cannot do anything. And then at the end of it, these are children who expect to be doctors, to be teachers, to be the next you, Omar, sitting there and discussing what you're discussing here. And if they are jailed, if they're detained, if they're given false promises, if they're not cancelled, if they don't receive that psychological support, just getting psychological support, and this is very important. As we said, this can be linked to suicide, and they can be linked to suicide and many other things that could make these children want to kill themselves or want to continue doing these crimes. Now they become criminals. They won't be in conflict with the law, because it's how you treat someone. Let's just treat these children with that respect. Though they're in conflict with the law, let's just remain their children. Yeah.
Asante sana, Sheila, for those beautiful insights.
Yeah,
Indeed, let us treat those children with respect, with the dignity that they deserve, and let them remain children. Sindio?
Yeah.
Asante sana, Sheila. Let's come to Mwangi. Mwangi,
Yes.
we talked to these children, me and Brian, we went there and talked to them. And some of them are telling us that they only have 2 teachers in an entire institution. You can imagine an entire institution just having 2 teachers who is teaching maths, English, Kiswahili, social studies, CRE, IRE, all this. And you find that sometimes even one of them misses school for an entire month, one of them misses school for even an entire 3 months, and then you have that one teacher is teaching all the subjects. You as a child rights advocate, what can you tell the stakeholders, the governments, the relevant NGOs that can be able to help in this situation to be able to provide quality education for these children?
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think that's a very critical area and very vital aspect, very vital sector in our government. And for all stakeholders who are involved, I think they need to have a conversation and have a dialogue. Because, I mean, you know, if we lose the education part, then they become nothing. Because the education is key to everything. And so, actually, even I had a privilege to interact with them, and some of them would even tell me that they're in class 8, but not because their age, not probably because they're 13 or 14, but they're actually 16, but they're in class 8 because they had to repeat because there was even no high school in that school. And so it was a very terrible experience, and because it even discourages them, because they're like, they don't even have to study because you're repeating the same class for, let's say, 2-3 years. So I think for me, I really is to really advocate for the government to take more action on it, take it more seriously, and actually give it more resources so that we can have teachers. Because you know, if you have a teacher teaching 6 subjects, then there's no concentration, and it's not quality education. This is just probably education that probably would not be what you want the child or the student or the pupil to understand. So for me, I really think that we should actually rethink the education system in these rehabilitation centers, and probably even if it's to get more teachers, probably put more resources for us to ensure that we actually have more teachers. And because education is a key to success and to everything. And however, because you find that most of them probably just get a sentence of 2 to 3 years, and so if you're 14, you would get out when you're 16 and would still come out and finish your high school and university. And so for us, it's just to concentrate more on that, probably advocate for it, so that the government can really take action.
Wow, thank you so much, Mwangi. It is true, these children do need education, and when they go there at around 14, and then they stay there actually for 3 years in the institutions, they don't stay more than that. I think that's a really good system, whereby they just get to stay for 3 years, no matter what got them with the conflict with the law, you see. But then at the same time, they should get quality education for the 3 years. Anyway, we're actually running out of time. I'm gonna give each one of you to give me your parting shot so that you can be able to finish. A parting shot of just like 30 seconds so that you can be able to wrap this up. Let me start with you, Mwangi.
Yes. So for me, it's just to appeal to the new CJ, and because she's been there for 1 year. We had a privilege to interact with the various stakeholders, which are the witness protection agencies, the DCI, and who also spoke on behalf of the Inspector General.
Yes.
And so we and the Law Society of Kenya, who have even paraphrased the Constitution to enable it to be more child-friendly. And so for me, it's really more of advocacy, and also for us to turn our eyes on that, because sometimes I think it's because we don't, first of all, this is a second Justice Summit. It was even launched actually by the President this week on Monday. And so the same place in Safari Park. So I think the thing is, we really need to focus on that aspect, because if the child loses it when they're that young, then they're very discouraged and actually would go back to crime, because they are actually not corrected, and they actually thought that these guys are being punished. They wouldn't have any encouragement not to do the same mistake again. So I think it's just for us to concentrate more on the justice system and really to advocate for it, and to also partner with those organizations, and also to follow what they're saying. So I think just that part will probably help us, and probably even to advocate for more people to actually join us in uniting with the justice committee and the justice stakeholders for us to make the justice system viable and actually workable, so that we can not only be in the constitution. I mean, preaching water and drinking wine is not a good thing. Yeah. So I think that's my parting shot.
Wow.
Thank you
so
very much.
That's actually a really beautiful parting shot. That should actually advocate for something and actually follow up and make sure that the justice system works for the child. Sheila, 20 seconds, I'm sorry. 20 seconds for your parting shot so that you can be able to wrap this up.
You had to limit me anyway.
No, it's time.
First of all, I'd like to say this. I have a problem with the officials. Personally, as Mwangi is saying, I think 3 years is it's good, but quite in another perspective, it's quite a long time. Because let's say you are taken there when you're in class 8. At least let them reconstruct high schools or junior high school according to the new curriculum of education. Let them reconstruct again, like new levels of education, so that when they are restrained there for 3 years, let's say if you're in class 8, you finish your class 8, you continue with your Form 1 and Form 2, and then you are released when you are going to Form 3 and Form 4, you continue with the education. Secondly, it's how the officials handle these children when they come in conflict with the law. Please handle them with care, please. They are children. It's not their fault. At the time, maybe they are just alleged to a crime. Maybe they are just not the ones who committed the crime. Maybe they are just witness. Or maybe they did commit it unknowingly. We do things because we do not know them, and that is just lack of education. And thirdly, these officials, these children are in that rehabilitation center. Please educate them on the importance of their rights. Please teach them. And those who are in specific vulnerability groups, please let you not just treat these children because they come from minority group. The way they were saying, the Meru were allowed only to go home because they are Meru, or because you treat them according to their tribe. No, that is not right. Please, if someone is coming from a slum, please just give them the respect they deserve. Not because they come from slums, it means that they commit crimes or they're just criminals, you see. Basically, so that would be. So let's just spot this and treat them with the dignity, respect, and the official handle them with care.
Asante sana, Sheila. Basically, officials handle these children with care and follow what the act is saying, best interest of the child. Namai, should I give you 15 seconds?
So Omar, my parting shot will be will mostly revolve around mental health. As you said, I am a huge, and by the way, if you're watching this and you know me and you're going through something, just come and talk to me, my guy. So I'm a huge mental health activist, and like 2 months ago we had a lot of cases where teenagers are taking their lives and are killing themselves, right? And as you mentioned, inside these prisons, inside these cells, these children are mistreated. These children are going through things that humans should not go through. You can just imagine sleeping on a floor without even a bed, not even say a mattress,
for 1 year.
For 1 year. You know, that's mental torture, not just for the child, but for the parent if he or she ever finds out. So basically, I won't say much. I would just say focus on your mental health. As a child, make sure that your mental health is good. Your mental well-being is what makes you. Basically, people say your health is your wealth. Focus on your mental health, okay? So I came across this really huge quote, a powerful quote. It says, "Would you rather be at peace with yourself or at war with the world, or at conflict with the world and peace with yourself?" And basically what I think this quote means is for you to be at peace. It doesn't matter what's happening around you, but as long as you are at peace with yourself, nothing can stop you.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Eric, for those amazing insights. And that was actually quite deep, talking about the justice system and how he's linking it to mental health. That was Eric Namai, a child rights advocate. We have Sheila, who's the head of the Amnesty Club in the school. We have Mwangi Ngai, who's also a child rights activist. News Insights is back and better. We're coming back with more discussion, more challenges that children are going through, and also more good news that are coming from children as we get our child journalists to the field. Welcome back and goodbye.